guys? Welcome back to Castle Combat TV, and in this video, I will be giving you guys 5 tips to build a strong Castle Combat deck. So moving on to the first tip, it is legend structure. So your legends are obviously the most important part of your deck, so you should have at least 3 epic battles, because epic battle is how you control the game, because it's your hand versus your opponent's hand. The more epic battles that you call, the better matchups you're going to get, because you can arrange, unless they have like Romulus. But 3 or more healers. 2 healers is nothing. I see it a lot where people only use 2 healers and they're like, oh, if my healer dies, I'll heal it with them. But what if your second healer goes to dungeon? Then you're kind of screwed. It's always good to have 3 healers and a genie, because that's a lot of redundancy right there. Moving on, we have 2 cards that can negate. Moving on to our next one, kind of a new concept, 1 battering ram. So battering ram is like a really high powered card that you throw in your deck just to take out the annoying 5s. And annoying 5s are just like the really high power 5s, because 6s don't have many abilities because you got to keep them balanced. But if you can find a 6, and for bad guys, it's normally a Dragon Lord. For good guys, it's probably Andromeda. Moving on to the next thing, it is a remove from game. A lot of remove from game cards are all luck based, and you got to get really, really lucky. But these are your home run hitters. So Teddy the Chosen One is mine, but it's always important to have 1 remove from game card, because you need a card that can just straight up hit home runs and remove cards from game. I guess I kind of have one with Genie. So that is it for tip number 1. Moving on to tip number 2, it is commons structure. So purple jesters, they're basically a King Morgan. If you see a purple jester on the battlefield, it's going to swap to this. And your leprechauns, these are some of the best commons in the game. They're basically legendaries. Lowest battle score wins. Leprechaun and any ally in epic battle get 1 reroll. So even though it's not per round, 1 reroll is still very strong. These are basically legendaries, but the reason why they're common is because they're brown good. So that was kind of like a caveat with them, like, oh, if you're gonna use leprechauns, you're gonna have to use brown good. But these cards are really, really strong, and I have 4 of them. So moving on to our next one, it is don't use too many different commons. What you want to do is find 2 really strong ones and just stock up on them, because you build a lot of consistency. And when you lose one, you always have 3 more. Like if I lose 1 purple jester, I still have 3 more to swap to King Morgan. Moving on to the final thing of tip number 2, it is lowest battle score. So lowest battle score commons are better than lowest battle score legends. So your legendaries, they're supposed to beat other legendaries, and they're not supposed to lose the commons. But when you have lowest battle score legends, yes, they will beat highest battle score legendaries, but they'll lose against normal commons. But when you have commons, you expect them to lose against legends and commons. But if you have a lowest battle score common, they're probably going to beat some legends, and they're probably going to lose the commons, which is what you would expect. So there's no point in wasting lowest battle score on legends unless they work. So there is an exception. Aurora works because I have Vega. Teddy the Chosen One works because I don't really use him for the lowest total. I kind of use him for the remove and the heal. So don't use a lowest battle score legend just to have one. Like Flip and let's say South Pole, those are strictly lowest battle score cards. Don't use Aurora if you don't have Mother Vega. If I didn't have Mother Vega, I don't think I would be using Aurora, because she would just be a sitting duck. But the only reason why I have Aurora is because I have Mother Vega, who can trade places to her at any given point. Moving on to tip number 3, it is incorporate trading places into your deck. So trading places, the strongest ability in the game in my opinion, but it allows you to get a free scout of your deck. Then also you can change battles based on the matchup, so it reduces the luck factor. So it can also confuse and annoy your opponent, because your opponent can have a really good epic battle going for them, and then you have 3 cards and they all just run away. Like Master Match just runs to like Aurora or something, Vega goes to negating Andromeda, and then a purple jester goes to King Morgan, and then the script is flipped, you win, which is really annoying. And I think it's unbeatable unless your opponent knows your whole deck, but I don't know what you're supposed to do. If you see Mother Vega on the battlefield, what are you going to do? You're going to put a 6 against it. If you put a 6 to get an advantage against her and then Andromeda, I'm going to switch to Aurora, go lowest. If you put, like, let's say a power 1 and Evil Snowman against it to try to counter my Aurora, I'm going to go to Andromeda and then negate. I don't know what you can do. It's all about reaction. Castle Combat, you want to be reacting to your opponent. You don't want to be the one to force the issue, because it's always the person who gets the final action of a battle. So that's just a little fun fact about the game. I just think it's unbeatable because you're constantly adapting to the field of play. Moving on to tip number 4, it is synergy and chemistry. How well do your cards work together? So Andromeda, she can heal any card with 5 or less power. It works with everyone. King Morgan, 5 or less power. It works with everyone except Andromeda, but that's fine. Vega, she can heal any card. So try to avoid cards that are like heal 1 blue bad guy, and then your whole deck is like black and then 1 blue card. That's an example of bad synergy, but all these cards in this deck work with each other. Mother Vega, she obviously works with Aurora Andromeda, so in lore, this would make sense. But Leprechauns, they work with any ally, not just brown good guys. Genie can trade places with any card. Master Matt can trade places with any card. All 4 of these cards, there's no caveats to what card that I can heal, because if I win, I can bring back anyone, because I know there's decks out there that are like, if you win, bring back a blue good guy, and then let's say you have all purple in dungeon, and then that heal is just rendered useless. Moving on to tip number 5, it is be able to explain how your deck works. So what are the strengths and weaknesses, and do you know who the VIP is? The VIP is very important to know. In this deck, King Morgan is my VIP, no doubt, because my purple jesters, they all rely on him. If he's gone, then these 4 are just sitting ducks and be targeted for healing. But King Morgan, let's say if there's an evil snowman and I have Mother Vega, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna move King Morgan. I'm gonna play it safe because he's my VIP. Moving on to the next part of tip number 5, it is know the counters to your deck and understand how you can lose, and then bring counters to your counters. So when you say bring counters to your counters, Genie is your guy, because you don't have to roll. It's just before battle. If you have me first, you're good. So that is basically it for all the tips. I reviewed my deck, and for those who are wondering if these tips actually work, they do, because all 5 of those tips were based on this deck. And if the best deck in the game was built using those tips or those pointers, then you guys maybe should follow that too. But anyways, that's it for today's video. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.